I just, I always liked it. And when I went back home to talk to my grandmother about it, and remember, I'm just a young little girl, she stated that acting is for the devil. And from there, I had to actually secretly do acting for years to come. And my mother, too, was on board with the fact that because of her religious background, because of the way she was raised by my grandmother, her mother, they had this, I guess, superstitious type of belief that acting was wrong and it was not becoming of holiness and things of that nature. So to be honest with you, Nikki, throughout my whole young youth life, I did act. I never stopped. I acted, but I did it secretly. And
welcome to the Breaking the Silence podcast. I am your host, Arthur Nikki Nicole. Here I believe in winning together and creating a safe, supportive space for people to share their stories and start their healing journey. My passion is to help people confront hidden battles, embrace their truths, and take steps towards a more fulfilling life. Every episode is designed to break the silence on topics that often go unspoken, leading to conversations that uplift, inspire, and transform. Join me as we break the barriers and find strength through shared experiences, one story at a time. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Silence, where you can unleash your inner voice. I am your host, Arthur Nikki Nicole, and season 5 is still going with some amazing people, taking things to the next level and winning. Over the past seasons, you've seen pain uncovered, new talent was discovered, and transformation has occurred. Every episode has broke the silence in some way, and I will continue to shine that light even in the darkness, to empower people to rise to the next level. It is time for us to be heard, it's time for us to be healed, and it's time for us to transform. Now, let's get to the reason why we're here today. Today's guest is Miss Tina Pep Perry. She's a woman that wears so many hats, y'all. She's a versatile actress, producer, playwright, director, entrepreneur. She owns a business called South Carolina Family Love and Care Homecare Agency, LLC. She is also known for her raw and authentic performances and ability to embody any role. She has also received the Best Actress Award in 2018. And what I love too about the whole thing, out of all these amazing things, she is an advocate for generational wealth. Man, we all got to get on that board for real. Anyway, after her countdown, please welcome this amazing woman to the Breaking the Silence platform. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I know I done gave a whole paragraph, but tell everybody a little bit more about yourself.
Yes, I appreciate what your introduction of me, and that is exactly who I am. I am an actress, and I love that. That is my first and foremost favorite thing to do. That is what I think I came to this earth to do. A lot of people have something that they feel that they came to the earth for. They have a purpose. My purpose is acting. But I've also I also do writing, mainly satire. I do short scripts. I do writing. I mean, excuse me, producing and directing. I also am a agency owner. I own a in-home care and assisted living placement agency in the state of South Carolina, and that's working with the elderly and the disabled age 18 and up. I also have a boutique residential assisting placement program where we have residential homes for those who can't afford to place their loved ones in a assisted living facility, or just do not want to place their family members in a nursing home. They'll come to people like me, which is a lot more affordable but also intimate as well. And I also, put together, produce, arrange a Black History program, and I use Black History as a reason to hold this type of event. But it's really generational wealth for Black folks, and I do that right around the February March timeframe, and it is just to help teach, educate, inspire, motivate folks to focus on the next generation, how to build for themselves, and how to build for the next 2 and 3 generations afterwards as well. So we get lots of great people with background experience, credentials. We get those from the religious world, ministers, college, HBCU college professors, those who are also in the industry as well, to just come and join us as guest speakers. And in that, we also have a lot of entertainment as well to just promote the agenda and get people motivated about building generational wealth.
Amazing. Wow. People don't think about generational wealth, but I think it comes from, like, in my time, from my mom. They didn't think about saving money. It was spend the money, pay the bills. So
Right.
they didn't know teach their children how, to save that money and have generational wealth. So I think that's an awesome thing that you're in. And then you're from South Carolina. I'm also from South Carolina. That is where I was born and raised. So it's always a pleasure to have somebody on my platform from South Carolina.
Yes, we are family, Nikki. We're
Yes,
family.
man. Family now. So tell me, how did your journey start as an actress, and what inspired you to take it to another level?
Yeah, I love it when folks ask me that question because mine started off a little unique. Now, it's just basically, I was right around 5 or 6 years old, and someone stated, "You're going to be singing on stage at this school," and I wasn't too into it, but I said okay, and I was a part of a group of kids that were getting ready to sing, and someone pulled me to the side, and I don't know who she was. Still today, I can't recall who she was, but she must have been a teacher, staff member, and said, "I want you to do something. I want you to do a little bit of acting." And I was like, okay, this is awesome, because I seen it before, but I'd never been asked to do it and never showed or expressed any interest in it. I just, always liked it. And when I went back home to talk to my grandmother about it, and remember, I'm just a young little girl, she stated that acting is for the devil. And from there, I had to actually secretly do acting for years to come. And my mother, too, was on board with the fact that because of her religious background, because of the way she was raised by my grandmother, her mother, they had this, I guess, superstitious type of belief that acting was wrong and it was not becoming of holiness and things of that nature. So, to be honest with you, Nikki, throughout my whole young youth life, I did act. I never stopped. I acted, but I did it secretly. And even my father later on learned that I was doing it secretly. I think I was in high school at that time, and I was doing community type of work where I created this community program, theater program, and I did the story of Malcolm X. And my dad was in the military. We were over in the Philippines at the time. And I had to tell him what I was doing because I needed some help at the very last minute. I was desperate. So I went to my dad about it, who has never spoke against the belief. I mean, the same type of belief that my mother had against acting. But because he didn't, I felt like it was okay to go to him at this particular time out of desperation. And I said, listen, I just need a group of men to get on stage and act like security guards while Malcolm does his last speech. And he went to his military unit, got a few young guys to come, and they also bought the real guns, and they performed. And they not use the guns, of course. I don't, I want to make sure I make that clear. But they were there posing as security guards on stage. And it was at that time my dad realized, hey, this is what she likes to do. And he never went back. He never told my mother about it. I think I was a mother. I was married and divorced when my mother first found out that I never stopped acting. I continued to do acting, got on stage with Tremaine Hawkins. I've done so much without my church or my mother and grandmother knowing about it. After my grandmother passed, I did a show that was called Knock Me a Kiss, and I played Nina Du Bois, which was W.E.B. Du Bois's wife. And we had 9 episodes downtown in Columbia, to be exact. And did those, after I started rehearsing those shows, when it was time for me to let everyone know that, hey, these 9 shows are coming up, I swallowed everything I had to ask my mother to be there. My father was on board. They brought a few other people. My mother came to my first show when I did Knock Me a Kiss. And after that particular show, I think it was the 3rd session that she came to. And after the show, she came to me with tears in her eyes. And she said, I'm sorry. I am so, so sorry. She apologized. And I knew that she was sincere in her apology because some of the things that she brought to my attention about how she stopped me from doing what I love doing. Ever since then, my mother never missed a show until she passed away in 2019. Excuse me, in 2022.
Wow. Wow. Well, at least you got closure, and she told you that she was proud of you, and she actually
Right.
got to see you perform. But
Right.
I always feel like it only takes one person to believe in your dream, and that's you. That's
Right.
not nobody else. It's you, and
Right.
you believed in yourself, and you kept going regardless of everything that you faced, and people not believing in you and not wanting you. That's the first time that I've heard that acting was of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think your grandma believed that?
Some of the things that take, for years and years before you and I, superstardom was very known to be something that folks who had access to that were not worshiping God. Something about it. They were on another level. Stars today are just like you and I, but back then they were looked at differently.
Different
A superstar was huge back generations back before you and I came here, and so there was always something in the news about soap operas and what these stars were doing to be able to get to where they needed to be, etc. So those are things that a lot of people picked up on. And some people harped on it, some people didn't. But my family, a lot of folks in my family did. I think that, as time passed, we start to learn and think different. Our mentality starts to change. And certainly my mother, I was so glad that in her lifetime that she saw a difference. And when I say that she was always there until the moment that she couldn't go no more, she was front and center. in the audience for every show that I did.
I love that for you. I'm glad that she was able to see you perform. That
Thank,
is an honor. So
thank.
you've been very open about facing opposition at an early age in your career. How did you navigate the challenges and kept going and staying grounded and staying motivated? Because there's a lot of things that go on in the not only the acting field but
Mhm.
music too. People don't remain authentic. They do things because the love of money, you
Mhm.
know. So what keeps you grounded and motivated even through those challenges that you went through in the industry?
Because what kept me motivated and grounded was because I felt that this was what I can do. If I couldn't do anything else in this entire world, I knew that acting was something I was able to do. I was able to. When I'm in that space, I feel like myself. I feel confident and comfortable. But not only that, my esteem is. It just is elevated at that time. I also feel as though in that space that I could create, and being creative, if you can find that space to be creative, that's something you should try to take ownership of. Some people are able to draw, some people can't. Well, if you feel like you can't, that's probably not your space, but you probably already have an idea of what you can do, but don't consider it as your purpose. And some of us feel like some of us just won't accept our purpose and build and elevate from there and develop it. But acting is something I know that is easy to develop because it's the space that makes me feel like I can create and apply my more talents in it. So as I go through life, and it's not about the dollar for me. I didn't make it. I never really made money in acting. What I did though is I was able to get the opportunity to be Tina who Tina is. And when I hear and get feedback from others, I'm getting good and positive type of feedback. And that's what makes me thrive is the ability to be just me. That's the only time I can just be me without being told to do anything or being forced to do something. No one has to force it upon me. You can give me a schedule and I'm going to be there on time. I'll be there to set up. These are things that just comes naturally because it's just who I am.
So now, you being a versatile actress, when you get into, I always ask any actress or actress that come across the platform because it just intrigues me. When you get these diverse roles, like say you get a role where you have to cry, like really cry. What does that process look like to get into that person, that character, and have all those feelings and really cry in that moment?
That's a good question, and I love it because I get to talk about how it's a process. It's not something that's on the spot all the time. Now, there are some folks that will probably can cry within 5 minutes, but to embrace it is to go through the process days prior. You have to walk in that element. You have to feel that element. You have to visit it, whether it's a script, whether it's a personality, whether it's a certain demeanor, attitude, walking, etc. It's a process. So for crying, you can empathize with the particular character, or if you cannot find the empathy that you need, and I'm speaking from a personal type of process, then you can revisit the things that are important to you, that hurt you, that brought you to that space to be able to tear up. And once you start to arrive there, days prior, when you get to wherever you are in that, whether it's a stage or whether it's film, um, it starts to click in. It's like a little clock for me. It starts to come through and it comes out. I just did I wish I would have sent you this clip. Um, there's this show that I did. It's called Last Tears. That's a stage play I did a year or so ago. Um, and I did that in Matthews, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. And I had to do a part for a woman. I played a part of a woman that was mentally had mental issues, and that was one of the most challenging I've done on stage. It took me a couple of days to actually arrive to the character, but it would actually take me about a good 6 days to step out of it. That's how much of an impact that particular character had on me as a whole. It took about 6 days for me to just release that negative type of um, feelings that I had, because the story was so deep, it's so depressing, and so hurtful, and for a woman to play, or anybody to play that type of part, it it takes a lot to get there, but it takes even more to get out of it.
Mm. That was going to be my next question. And I was going to say, when you take yourself to these places of hurt and places of pain, how do you come out of that? And you just answered it. It took you days to come out of that.
Yeah.
So is that draining for you? Like, getting to that point and then having to release it and taking that moment in time, do you kind of have to go in a shell, away from people to just be able to come out of that?
Yes, for me, for this particular one, I literally had to just kind of go to a park. I had to sit in my backyard where there's peace, especially in the early mornings. I had to really just find ways to make, and I did meditation as well, but I had to find different things to get me out of that, because I didn't want to carry that to, let's just say, church, or let's just say to a client when I'm trying to meet up with a client. I didn't want that over me. But yeah, I had to do turning on good music, good positive music, and listening to that positive music, or having what you call to self talks and affirmations, things of that nature. Drinking lots of water, just kind of getting my head out of that space. But since this was a stage play, and every rehearsal required me to go all the way to 1,000%, that's what made it more difficult for me. Filming this would probably have been a lot more easier for me, but because I had to revisit it every single week for months, that's why this was a challenge for me. Because it's stepping in, and as soon as I get the opportunity to step out, I had to go right back into it.
Mm. So how did you get the name Pep? How did that come about?
Well, actually, in the Philippines, I was Pepper. I was because I was this cheerleader, and I was always lollygolly, fun one. I love to make people laugh and all of that. It was just something they just said, she's always on the hot spot trying to make people laugh, and so they called me Pepper. And we shortened it, because everybody that were my friends, whether they're here, they just ended up calling me Pep. Pep came from Pepper as a cheerleader.
I love it. So what was if you can go back in the time, what was your first role or performance that made you realize that, you know what, this is my purpose. This is what I was born to do. This is everything.
So I did a show called Women Speak, and I played Ida the Bells. Excuse me, Ida Wells, and she was a civil rights leader. And the in Women Speak, when that program took place, I was asked to do Ida. There was so many people that were important there in the community, and I didn't know anything about her. I just knew that they asked me to do the part. But when I sat down and was given advice on who she was, what they needed, and I needed to take that, because I was just young. I need to focus on being serious and take this role seriously. That is what drove me to really feel like, gosh, there's more to this acting than what I've done previously by playing this real person's life in Women Speak. And I didn't play an I had to actually do more of a monologue type of thing for her. And so that drew me in, where I was actually turned into this Ida, given my monologue speech, and really trying to take every piece of it and become somebody completely different than who I was. I've never done that before. So it was Ida Wells. It was Women Speak, playing Ida Wells.
That's amazing.
And I got a chance to meet her niece just a few weeks ago. I was introduced to her grand niece just a few weeks ago. We got a chance to connect, and I thanked her for where she came from. That she came from a legacy, and I appreciated that. So yeah, this is just a few weeks when I just met her, and I did Ida Wells like way in the was it early '90s.
That's amazing. That is amazing to be able to play a role of such a powerful woman. Ooh.
Mhm.
So everybody, with the naysayers, it's always a naysayer, and no matter what you're doing, people
Right,
say, "Oh, be a starving artist, no actor or artist or actress." How do you feel about that? Because actors actually have to learn scripts, pages and pages of scripts. They have to work hard. So
right.
with you being in that field, working so hard to try to get these roles, how did it feel when somebody said no?
Yeah, so honestly with me, I haven't broke into where I needed to be just yet. I'm still working to get there, Nikki. And I have done so much, whether it's on scene, vaccine, where the writing and trying to put programs together. I put Hi-Fi Nights together. Hi-Fi Nights is is just like a general type of entertainment show similar to Saturday Night Live and In Living Color, where I created all these scripts, but we did everything in person instead of on TV. We just did it on a stage in front of audiences. I felt like I've done so much. I haven't broke in just yet. What keeps what keeps us going is the fact that this is indeed uh, it's something that I love to do. I love to do. No one has to ask me. Nobody has to beg me. Anytime you say, "Do you want to do this?" I don't care how big or small the role is. I want to do it because that's what I like doing. But yes, there are times where I feel like I don't know what door to go through. I have tried to knock on doors and they got shut down. Or I just feel like I don't know where to start to get to where I need to be. That is me today. That is who I am today. Just trying to knock on so many people, so many doors to see which one will open because I'm really believing my talent. And I just feel like the right people haven't seen it. So being told no over and over again, or not knowing what door to knock on, um, it can be depressing at times, but it's never something that stopped me from continuing on, because this is almost like drinking water, eating food. This is just something that is a part of me. I'm gonna keep going. So if you can walk down the hallway, I'm gonna act. It's the same. It's the same difference
I
for
know
me.
that's right. But you know what? There can be a million no's and there can be one yes, and all those a million no's. So,
Right.
and I truly believe that, everybody has their own growth path. You
Right.
can move like the turtle and still get where you're going.
Exactly.
You move
Exactly.
like the rabbit and still get there at the same time. We all know who won that race. So,
Right. I like
so
that.
in 2018, you received this amazing award as the best actress. What did that recognition mean to you, and how did it impact your career going forward afterwards?
Well, it meant a lot to me because I feel as though, as all these years that passed by, that I have always been that supportive person. I'll do what anybody have asked me to do. I've always been that kind of person. But and then also, I remind folks that I came up around people that didn't look like me. My father was in the military. And a lot of the folks that I was around happened to be of other people, other races, and other cultures. As a Black girl, I don't care how great you are coming up, when I auditioned for anything, it was either the audition, the type of role was not something for a Black girl to play, um, or if they did make room for the Black girl, they'll put her in roles that were not something your average person or average actress would go for. I had to play those roles because I was around individuals, folks who focused on, if it was a play or whatever it may be, focused on plays for other people and not the Black folk. So, you know, at that time I said, well, I'm going to just show off. I'm gonna go for the better roles. I'm gonna go for what I know, and I got picked for the lead actress, and these are real life folks who wrote books, and I'm actually on stage living out their lives, and I've done that several times in the last, I guess, 6 years. I have played other folks' lives and been picked for that, and I'm so appreciative of it. But I am humble too. So, I've always give credit to those who work around me, because it took a lot to just get that. I'm humble. I'm appreciative of it. Only thing I can say is I'm hoping that I am able to continue to grow and people see me as that person that could play a particular role, a particular challenging role or someone's life. And if that takes that award to show them, hey, she can do it, then great. But I'm humbled by it, though. I don't let it, define me in any other way. But the fact that
That's an honor for you to be able to play other people's lives, because for them to choose you to play their life,
yeah,
that speaks volumes right there. You've already made it. You made it a long time ago. Just with that. So in today's entertainment industry, we all know it's changing. Everything has changed from the way they did things then to now has changed a lot. What changes do you hope to see? And I say in terms of representation and like kinds of stories being told when it comes down to acting, the acting world.
Well, I see that we're kind of going in that direction. I like to see more Black actresses playing more of the type of roles that we've seen on TV for so long, with the different faces on it, whether it's heroes or, I would like for us to move and transition from the family and church type of movies and go into something a little bit more deeper and showing our ability to succeed, to fly, to hold roles that will make the next generation say, well, hey, I look up to that. That's who I want to be. That's my hero. I'm thinking that I would love for us to just be the incredible Hulks that, that we used to look up to. When we looked at the TV, we looked at people who were different, didn't look like us. I want us to look at folks just like us and say, hey, that's what I want to be when I grow up. So I would like to see that change. And I like to see more superstardom attitude as well, and not the day-to-day too. That's kind of getting played out a little bit. The way we act and conduct ourselves today, we're just like, when you think of a role model, you think of a star. A lot of times, and we tend to forget that now. We just out here doing a lot of reality type of behaviors. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the crazy part about it is that's what people are watching.
Right.
Not me, but that's what they're watching. So
Right.
it makes it hard for you to really be authentic in the world when doing this over here gets you to the top. You're viral, you're trending, everybody loves you. When people are doing something positive, nobody's watching.
Exactly.
So let's talk about my most favorite thing to talk about: generational wealth. It being you're a part of your mission. What do you think is the most overlooked or underestimated asset in building wealth, and how does that reflect you personally on your journey and value?
Yeah. So there, that really is very interesting. I can call out so many different type of items that we don't focus on in terms of generational wealth. But I'm going to talk about one that is huge. but people overlook it. And that's mentality. It's about who we think we are as a people and our capabilities. A lot of times what happens is, and what we've noticed um, is that we are not as good as the person that owns the McDonald's down the street. A lot of times we don't even acknowledge that that's a human being behind the McDonald's. That's a human being behind the credit union, or that's a human being behind this doctor's office down the street. They keep forgetting that. They just think that they don't concern themselves with the fact that this could be you. They don't believe that. And we have to kind of escape the mentality that we're just here to survive, and we've been on survival mode for generations, and we have passed down the survival mode to the next generation. So we have been creating something generationally, but the wealth part comes from a change of the mindset. How do we how do we enhance our vibes? How do we take it up a few notches? Well, the first thing we want to do is change our mindset. The second thing we want to do is we want to get to the point where we understand ownership. And so those are things that we tend to forget when we're in the survival cycle. We're all constantly thinking about the rat race, ownership, and how to create money in the multiple ways to create money. So, and then the things that set out for us, such as insurance plans, IULs, and bonds, and things like that. How to understand what a stock is, and what that means, and that a kid can do it. A kid can get behind his computer if he really wanted to, and make some money in just a day, just by going online and investing in stocks. We don't think about those things because we're constantly in a different type of mindset.
Right.
It's not how we think.
And if we changes everything.
Yeah.
Changes everything.
Yeah.
So we're down to our final question. I ask all my guests this question. If you could have a conversation with your future self, what would you say? Or what would you ask?
I never thought about that. I thought about what I would ask my past self, but my future self would be persevere. Aging is what you make it to be. And a lot of times we don't have to have an actual disease, but mentally we could be diseased. And diseased mentally is just being at dis-ease. And and I just would tell myself to refrain from being in that space, in that situation. Stop. Focus on being youthful and moving and persevering as long as you can, thrive.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. You are an amazing woman. As I already said in the beginning, you have done some amazing things, and you have a lot of reasons to be proud of the journey. You said, I haven't done this yet. You've done a lot.
I appreciate
So you should be proud.
I appreciate that, Nikki. Thank you.
This is your moment to shine. I always call it the 30 seconds of fame. This is your time to tell everybody where to follow your journey, how to maybe watch some of the movies that you've been in, how to find that, and what's coming up next for you in the year 2025, because this year's almost over. So it's your time.
Well, thank you for that. I'll just quickly say that I am so grateful for this opportunity to have a sit-down conversation with Nikki. I've seen some of the videos and work that she's done, that she's allowed us to kind of peep into, and what she's doing is awesome, great, and it's motivating and inspiring. I am not the best in terms of your social media and all that, but folks can follow me on Facebook at Tina Pep Perry on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. Don't do a whole lot of posting just yet because I'm not the biggest person on it, but soon enough you'll see some more types of content coming up. Because I have shows that's coming. I'm working on Sleeping with the Enemy. That's going to take place in South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and North Carolina. You'll see some of my writings come through too on social media through other actors, that is, but it will be me in the background doing the writing and the directing. I also would, for my business part of it, I hope that the state of South Carolina is tuning in because you'll see a lot more boutique assisted living from SC Family Love and Care and TP Assisted Living. Places that you can place your loved ones at and feel confident that they are being well taken care of and living the lifestyle that they are familiar with people who care about helping others. And you will see more hi-fi night type of satire types of shows as well. I thank Nikki for this time. I really do appreciate it. I am so grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming and supporting me on my journey. If there's anything that I can do to assist you on your journey to help you get a little bit further, we in this together. We in this to win it, and we're going to get there. I tell everybody, we got to do it together because people really do need people.
Yes, you're so right. We do need each other. Yes.
So make sure you don't be a stranger and keep in touch so we can get to the next level. I'm proud of you. Keep going. Don't let nobody tell you nothing different.
Thank you. Thank you. Will do. So thank you very much, Nikki. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And thank you to everybody else that's tuning into this amazing episode. Amazing episode. I hope that this episode has brought you some type of encouragement, some insight, and maybe a reminder that you know what, I can do that too. I have a purpose in this life. So as we continue to take this journey together, remember that your voice matters. Your voice matters. Your life matters. And no matter what you're trying to do in this life, you can do it. Everything is about mindset. Everything that you do is about mindset. So if today's episode has touched you in some kind of way, I encourage you to share and continue to break the silence in your own lives. So until next time, later.